Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you haven't subscribed already, click that subscribe button. Trust us, it'll be worth it. Thank you. What is up, everyone? I am Chris Knight, and this is Movie Talk with Chris and Stig. And today, as always, my esteemed colleague and co-host for this show is Stig. Stig, how you doing today?
I'm doing quite well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You were telling me it's kind of cold there right now.
Yeah, it's chilly for May.
Yes.
Really chilly. We actually had a little bit of snow yesterday as well, which is very unusual because we usually don't get snow after March.
Yeah, no, we get here in Kansas City, we can get snow and stuff like that. It's not necessarily that uncommon, and we've gotten it this time of year, even in May sometimes, but it's really kind of rare. But we're getting some cold weather. We've had a couple frosts in the past few days and stuff like that. So, we'll see how that is and how that goes. It's kind of, I don't know, weather can be really interesting.
Yeah, it's so interesting here right now that I'm mostly just reading books inside.
Yeah. Well, just give me a second here as I tell everybody out there that we're live and all that fun stuff. And today, though, we are going to be talking about Willow. And I guess while I'm doing this, we can talk a little bit about some of the stuff we liked about it before we go really into it. What do you think about this movie? Give me your basic impressions of it.
I like it. It achieves exactly what it's supposed to, right? Performs as advertised.
Yeah.
And this movie has a lot of nostalgia from my end because it was one of my little sister's favorite movies, and she used to make me go to a friend's place and borrow his Willow VHS constantly. And she didn't want to watch it alone for some reason, so I had to watch it with her.
Uh-huh.
So I've probably seen it 50 times, at least. It was that one and Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin. That was her.
Aladdin.
She
A lot of.
used to watch a lot. So.
How much younger is your sister than you?
4 years.
4 years, yeah. So you were big brother there doing that stuff with her, weren't you?
Yeah. She used to wake me up, standing in the doorway of my room and holding the VHS tape. Subtle hint.
Yeah. Now? Now. No.
No. Back then.
No, I know. I'm just saying she'd be holding it, shaking, go like, now.
Yeah. So, yeah, I have a lot of fond memories of that movie. It's... And it kind of grows on you because it's so rewatchable.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, so I sent out the tweets and stuff like that. We've got Thomas and we've got Amber in the chat, guys. Thank you very much for stopping by and saying hi, and hopefully you guys stick around for a little bit. Let's go over a little bit of this stuff. Let's start with the cast. So Warwick Davis, let's start with him, plays Willow. And if I remember right, he kind of... Okay, well, I guess let's start with this. George Lucas wrote this. He produced it, and Ron Howard directed it. And I think part of its success, part of the reason why it was... why it was so popular was that George Lucas, at this point in time of his career, was really coming up with some great ideas and really coming up with some strong stories.
Yeah.
He had kind of gotten into that groove because this is like 88? 87? Yeah, somewhere right around there. And he had just finished
Howard Duck.
Yeah, well, yeah. But he had just finished, I think they were just getting ready to wrap up Indiana Jones. He was getting all these really good products out there. Howard the Duck wasn't necessarily one of them, but I guess that's just depending on how you look at the movie. Ron Howard was just getting into his groove, I think, as a director. A few years after this, he does Far and Away, which was, I still think to this day, it's a fairly good movie. I mean, it's not the best movie in the world. The accents are horrible, but
but not every movie needs to be the best one. If as long as they're very entertaining,
yes.
it's good enough for me. And this one certainly is that.
Hold on just a second here. Okay, yeah, so with George Lucas and Ron Howard, I mean, nowadays looking back on it, you'd be like, man, that's a power duo for a movie.
Yeah.
With what we know now. Back then, Lucas was a name. Howard was trying to make a name for himself. Back then everybody was still saying, Opie? Little Opie? Yeah. That's who, because that's what everybody knew him as. I mean, yeah, I know, he had done Happy Days and stuff like that, but it was just, he was still Little Opie, and this movie really helped change that. So ILM is a part of it, Industrial Light and Magic, LucasFilm, a lot of big names behind it. And Warwick Davis got his start because of George Lucas, and kind of in a weird way, on Return of the Jedi, when I'm trying to remember who played R2-D2.
Kenny Baker.
Yeah, thank you. When Kenny Baker fell ill, like really ill, on the set, he was supposed to play Wicket, the Ewok, and he couldn't. So one of the other Ewoks on set was going to be played by Warwick Davis. Lucas liked Warwick, kind of, liked the way he did his movements and stuff. So he said, hey, come over here. You're going to do this part. And that's basically how him and Lucas got involved. And Warwick Davis was fairly young at the time. He was a newbie, I think, if I remember right, in the world of acting. And I guess Lucas saw something in him. So when it came across for Willow, if I remember from interviews, because of his age, because he was going to be without a mask or without costume, Lucas thought of him immediately. And
Warwick Davis is superb in this movie.
Mm-hmm. He is.
He's a very underrated actor, because I've seen him in quite a few things, and he's a terrific comedy actor as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, superb, delivery,
and I don't have it on my list of actors, but if I remember right, hold on. Thank you, Amber. I appreciate that. Thank you. So if I remember right, the town sage, the town elder at the very beginning, I think that was played by Kenny Baker, wasn't it?
No, Billy Barty.
That's right. Okay, Billy Barty. Yeah, just the way that the
also a
makeup looks.
Actor.
Yes.
Kenny Baker is seen in the background during when they're trying to decide what to do with the baby.
There's a lot of people in this that you see in other things. I mean, let's face it. Little people, once they get into Hollywood, it's typically the same people constantly. Just makeup and other things disguise them.
Yeah, I think the dwarf from Bad Santa.
Yes.
As well.
I was going to say he is too. He's actually part of the group that leaves the village. And when you start watching it again after years, you're like, oh wait, hey, he did this or she did this, and it's really interesting when you go back. It's like the Munchkins for years. Those people.
And Kramer's friend as well.
Mm-hmm.
Seinfeld.
Yep.
He's in there.
Yep. Yes, he is. Thomas, I think this isn't on Disney Plus. This is an MGM film, but depending on how much ownership George Lucas had, it might be. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But I'll tell you what. Go to YouTube and type in Willow full movie, and there is a version on there that cuts the very beginning off, and it's mostly on there because the very beginning. Let's just go into this really quick. The very beginning, if I remember right, it tells the prophecy of this child, and there's an evil queen who is played by oh shoot, I'm trying to look now. Queen Bavmorda or Bavmorda. Bavmorda. That's I hate some of the names in this movie. It's gonna make me look like a complete thing. I'm trying to look and see. I'm trying to remember what's her name. Jean Marsh. That's it. Jean Marsh plays her, and she basically sends these dog-like creatures after a woman. So this child is born. This woman is watching the child, and Bavmorda knows that this child is pretty much going to be her undoing. This is a fairly
because the baby has a mark.
Yes, and this is a pretty much a again from George Lucas. It's a classic story that's been told many times. Just it's told differently.
It's basically George Lucas meets Lord of the Rings in a way.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's what I always think. It's just short and concise, not 3 movies. But the woman takes the child because she's trying to save the child. She gets attacked by these dog-like creatures that, man, when I first watched this as a child, I was like, ugh, they bothered me. I think they still kind of bother me.
Yeah, those dogs are just eerie.
Mm-hmm.
And the midwife, I think it is. She gets killed by the dogs, but she manages to send the kid downriver.
Yes.
On a little homemade raft, and it ends up with the Nelwyns, which are short people, basically hobbits, and Willow's children find the baby.
Yep. Willow's children find the baby. They come and get him. Say, "Hey, Dad, come and look at this." I mean, it's kind of funny when he comes up to the baby. He's like, "Don't touch it. Leave it there." And his kids are like, wanting to pick the baby up and stuff. And he's like, "Well, maybe if we just push it down river, it'll go, and we'll never have to worry about it."
He's also he's a farmer, but he's a shit farmer. He's just not good.
Yeah,
and he's looking at losing his farm to the village
landowner or
village rich guy, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They basically, find the baby, and Thomas, we'll try not to ruin anything per se about this. But anyways, they take the baby. They're raising the baby or taking care of the baby, and the village basically gets attacked.
Not yet.
No, I'm just skipping.
Oh, okay.
That. I mean, I guess. Go ahead. I mean, what were you gonna? Where do you want to go with it?
Yeah, he goes to have. There's this town fair.
Yeah,
it seems like an annual thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he tries out for an apprentice gig with the local wizard, the High Aldwyn, and doesn't go well. Willow screws it up.
Yeah,
or rather, he thinks he screws it up. But yeah,
that happens. Is it during that the town gets attacked?
A little later, but and they figure out that the dogs that attack were looking for a baby because they keep tearing up baby carriages or whatever. And then Willow realizes, oh shit, it's probably the baby we found.
Yeah, he's worried that his wife, who has the baby, may have been attacked. Runs back to the house. Baby and his wife are fine. And he then says, well, we can't keep the baby.
Yeah, they take it to the council, which
Mm-hmm.
is the scene where you see Kenny Baker.
Yep.
And they decide to, the big fat guy.
Yeah, you just said him earlier, too.
Burgle-Cut.
Yeah, Burgle-Cut.
Yeah, it was a real slimer.
Yeah,
He decides to send, we should send Willow, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, basically, they're trying to decide. They're like, hey, we can just give it to somebody. Originally, that's kind of just, it's, that, and then they
give it to a human.
Yeah.
Basically.
And then Willow says, basically, I mean, because Willow found the baby, yeah, Burgle-Cut says, let's send him. Then Burgle-Cut, one of the warriors of the group, steps forward to go with him, with Willow, and
Willow's best friend was
mm-hmm.
called Gosh, I believe.
Yes.
He volunteers, and Burgle-Cut is fine with that. But when the finest warrior wants to go, he's like, "No, we need him here."
Yeah, and then that's when the High Aldwyn says, "Well, because you're so smart and all that, and you're, a leader, you will go as the leader." At which point, he wants the warrior to go with him.
Yeah, and the journey bit is actually quite well done.
Mm-hmm.
They use those kick-ass paintings you see in the Indiana Jones movies as background.
Matte paintings.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Well, back then, that's all you could do these with was with matte paintings.
Yeah, but I think it looks better than a lot of the modern CGI, to be honest.
No, I don't disagree at all.
Just feels like it has a heart and soul, which this movie certainly has.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I totally agree with that. But yeah, so they do the whole journey. They get to the crossroads, which is kind of like in this movie, it's kind of designed as the end of their world and the beginning of everything else.
Yeah,
this is like as far as anybody in their village has ever gone.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's a symbolic crossroad, really. It's the same you see in Star Wars when they go to the cantina. Mm-hmm. It's like the point of no return.
Yeah,
and they find Val Kilmer's character named Matt Mardigan sitting in a cage, a rose cage, because he's done some kind of well, we don't really know. It's just being hinted at all through the movie. But yeah, Lady Toriel is in the chat too. We have an elf.
Hey, Lady Toriel, how you doing? It's good to see you there. We're talking Willow, of course. Yeah, so they get to the crossroads, and they hear this sound. They're not sure. I've yet to figure out if the sound is really there or if they just kind of, if Val Kilmer's character is kind of throwing his voice.
I think it's like a weird bird thing in the distance.
But Willow's they're all getting kind of freaked out about it. And, well, Willow backs up against these prisoner cages that are hung there. And Val Kilmer grabs him and says, I want water. Give me water. Peck, yeah. Or Beck. What is it? Peck?
Yeah, he calls him Peck.
Yeah.
Because he's short.
Which is a derogatory term in this universe for the Newland.
Oh, I'm sure that term got used quite a bit after that movie was released as well.
I am sure. But he grabs him and he gets away, but he's wanting to, he's wanting water, and he goes through this whole thing where he's trying to get out, trying to do anything he can to get out. And our leader, oh yeah,
Willow?
no, the from the
No, Burglecott has already left.
well,
That,
no, not yet. I don't think has
yeah.
he.
No,
Oh,
that's
that's
where
right.
it
Yeah,
leads.
no, they do, because he's trying to say give it to this guy.
Yeah, and Willow doesn't want it, and they just leave him.
Yeah, they say, listen, we've got crops. It's harvest time, and Burglecott tries to appeal to Willow with that. He says, if you don't go back, your crops won't be harvested. It kind of as a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you don't come back and harvest your crop and pay me, you're not
Yeah,
going to have a place to live, or you're not going to have fields. At which point, of course, Willow gets mad, but they leave anyways.
yeah, and then
And
the army shows up
mhm,
by a man named Eric,
yes,
blonde bearded fellow.
who is? I'm trying to remember who that
Oh, it's a guy you've seen a lot of B movies.
Gavin o- O'Hurley or oh shoot,
Yeah, he. I haven't seen him in a while, but he tends to be in a lot of B movies.
mm-hmm.
I always thought he was a good actor,
He
but
was. He does really well in this. I mean,
oh yeah,
he
he's great.
yes.
It's just one of those people who just never seems to catch a break, I guess.
Well, I mean, or he just knows that he can get steady work if he just stays within his box, which is okay too, because there's lots of people who jump out of their box. It happens to TV stars all the time. They have big, great gigs on TV, and then they say, "Oh no, I want to be a movie actor," and they go and they never find parts that are worth anything.
Yeah,
So maybe he just knows where maybe he's found his comfort zone. He's like, I know I can do this. I'm in a great place. I get plenty of roles. I'm happy. Maybe.
yeah. I actually saw him in. I watched Never Say Never Again.
Yep.
The unofficial Bond movie. He's in that one.
Mm-hmm.
Has a small part.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, good actor, underrated.
Yeah, but we during this time, Eric starts talking to who we now know as Mad Mardigan, because he calls him that. So, yeah, Mad Mardigan, what'd you do this time? I always knew
Yeah,
you'd end up here. It's like you can tell they know each other, and they have some sort of a relationship.
yeah. It seems they were in the same army, and
Mm-hmm.
Mad Mardigan, which is actually his full name.
Yes.
Uh, he refused to fight or something,
Mm-hmm.
and there's been some kind of dispute because of that.
Yes.
So he leaves him in the cage.
Yep. He leaves him in the cage, and basically he's left there to now again appeal to Willow, because it's obvious that he's just trying to get out.
Yeah, and
He
it's also boasting that he's one of the greatest swordsmen that ever lived.
This is when he starts saying, you need me.
Yeah, and
Because if you go out there, you're gonna die or whatever. And he says, but you need me. I'm a great warrior. I'm the best swordsman in the world, or in the land. And
yeah,
Willow is still
yeah, he wants to go home.
yeah, but Willow is still apprehensive, and his friend says, "Oh no, I
He,
trust him. I trust him." And
yeah,
so, long story short, they let him out, give the baby to him. They go home. They're running home. They're happy. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna be heroes. We're gonna be this. We're gonna be that." And lo and behold, here comes this bird with something on the bird, on riding the bird, screaming, "I stole the baby! I stole the baby! I stole the baby!" And flies over them. And well, Willow now is like, "Hey, wait a minute, that's my baby!" and runs after it. We're
yeah. They get captured.
we're introduced to the brownies, which that scene alone when they're running through those woods and stuff is actually done really well, because if you haven't seen this movie, there's all these little brownies who are full-grown people, but they're shot in a way that makes them look very, very small, and they're running on these branches and stuff out in the woods, and when you watch it, you can tell nowadays it was done using like green screen and the cutouts, you know, where they'd be on a stage somewhere. But it's not that obvious, and it's done very well, because here you have Warwick Davis and the other actor Willow and his friend running through the woods, real woods, out someplace where they shot this part. But the effects of the people running on the limbs and stuff is done somewhere else, but it's really done well, where it all blends together very well. Even today. I mean,
Yeah, the special effects in this movie isn't bad, given that it's 87. It was actually, back then it was top notch, and probably then some.
There's only one scene in all of this, I think, honestly, that has aged a lot, but it's not that bad, especially if you just kind of let it go with it, kind of thing. You know, if you just say, okay, I'm going to go with it. And we'll get to that here in just a little bit. But they, like you said, they get captured. And
yeah, they get tied up, you know, Gulliver's Travel style. Tied up by the ant-sized people.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder where the hell did they get the ropes?
The brownies, yeah. Well, it's Lilliput. I mean, it's just, again, this is where you get these reoccurring tropes that George Lucas is known to use. He borrows from many different works of literature and stories that have been told for years, and incorporates them, because, like he'll tell you, you know these things already. So when I show you to them in movie form, you go with it. You're used to this. You've seen it before. You understand it, so you don't question what's going on screen.
Yeah.
You just said it. The ropes. Where do they get the ropes? How do they do this? You don't question that, because you know the story, like the Lilliputs and Gulliver's Travel. It's a very similar thing.
Yeah, and then the
Fairy Queen basically saves them, or tells them to let them go.
Be a big ghost-like thing, kind of like a spirit.
Shalindra.
It's Shalindria.
Cylinder. Yeah. I told you, this is going to make me sound horrible.
Makes like a little prophecy, you know, everyone's going to die if you don't protect the baby.
Yeah.
And Evil Queen will win. And she gives him a wand.
Yes. And
it's a wand.
Yeah, and I think this is the first time they actually learn what the baby's name is and what the baby's purpose is. You find out it's Elora.
Elora Danan.
Yes, Elora Danan. And actually, most movies back then, if you had a baby in it, would be one or two babies. This one used three. Kate and Ruth Greenfield and Rebecca Bierman are the three babies that were used. So twins and then another one. And it's amazing, because these babies were not babies, because they actually had they were able to smile and kind of act.
Yeah.
But we learned that this child is going to be the savior of the land. It's going to it is Queen Bavmorda. Basically, she's going to defeat the queen, and
it's basically Anakin Skywalker.
Basically, and in a very small nutshell version of it, without the long backstory and the 6 movies, because much like most people, the last 3 movies have nothing to do with the first 6.
No.
We won't even go into that. So they basically get their mission, what they're supposed to do. And she basically says, you, Willow, have to do this. She has picked you. Which,
Oh, and earlier on, he got magic nuts,
Mm.
magical acorns from
yeah,
High Goldwyn, and if he throws them at something, it'll turn them to stone. So he has a lot of magic items at this point.
yes, he
Magic
has
acorns
her wand and has the magic acorns, which he's already threatened Mad Mardigan with, which he's like, oh no, magic acorns. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't think at this point it really means anything. But
yeah. Oh, and he's told to go to an island and find someone named Finn Roselle.
Yes.
Yeah, powerful sorceress, and he's supposed to give the wand to her.
Yeah,
Which
Tyr Aslan.
no, yeah, take her to Tyr Aslan, which is a castle.
Yes. Gives Willow his wand or her wand and Willow sends Mihosh home at this point.
Yeah.
He says, okay, Mihosh, it's time to go home. And Mihosh is all like, yes, all right, great. And then he starts heading that way and he says, hey, tell my wife I love her. And at this point, Mihosh realizes he's going. And this is that Lord of the Rings moment where Mihosh now realizes that Willow may never see each other.
Yeah. Oh, and two of the brownies go with them.
Yes, those two brownies, Phrygian and Rule.
Yeah.
And they're assigned to help him. So Mihosh goes home, and the three of them go off. Well, they end up at this tavern. They end up in this town at this tavern, and lo and behold, again, who do they run into? Mad Mardigan.
Yeah, dressed as a woman.
Yes, he's dressed as a woman trying to hide from Lug, because he's been, of course, messing around with Lug's wife. And I love how when I looked this up on Wikipedia, Lug is listed as a cuckold. I'm like, well, yes, he is, but just I'm not so used to seeing that word thrown around that well. But anyways, he
starts hitting on Mad Mardigan.
Yes, he does. Because he's dressed, and as long as he covers his face, he's wearing fake breasts and trying to look like a woman. I don't think he pulls it off very well, but obviously Lug is stupid and buys into it because his wife says it's her cousin, or
yeah, yes, it's her cousin.
This is my
Hilda.
cousin Hilda. Yeah, and he's like, ooh, Hilda.
Yeah.
And Mad Mardigan does get away from him.
I've seen this movie way many times.
Mm-hmm. Mad Mardigan does get away for just a second from Lug, but right about the time that he's trying to go out the door, the army for
Sorcerer, Bad Morta's warrior daughter.
Yeah, warrior daughter. Yes.
Played by what's his name? He plays a couple of roles in Indiana Jones.
Which one? The
General?
General? Yeah, Pat Roach.
Yeah, he's in. He's twice in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and he plays the big henchman in the second Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah. He was normally he was an actor / stunt guy. So they used him a lot for when they had to actually have a piece shot with Harrison Ford. It worked out really well to have a guy that was also an actor that could do the stunt. So that's why they used him a lot in those movies.
Yeah, he's actually very good.
Yeah. He is, and he has a big part, not big, but a fairly decent part in this movie.
Yeah, he's the main.
He is the general of Bab Morta's.
Yeah, basically the main threat
Mhm.
through most of the movie. He's basically Vader.
Yes. And Joan Wally plays Sorsha.
Later became Val Kilmer's wife.
Yes. Anyways, Sorsha and the armies of Bad Morta are there. They Mad Mardigan has the baby and is still trying to play this ruse up that he's a woman and that this is his baby. Sorsha comes up and says, "Let me see the baby," and he pushes her and basically knocks her down, but pushes her a good 6 feet or so, like social distance, boom. And she now knows that he's not a woman, and so she comes back up, and at this point, she
Love.
reveals that he's not a woman, takes his veil off, and now Lug knows, and Lug gets mad, and Mad
Basically
Mardigan,
attacks everyone.
yeah, he
Goes
said,
to work. And
yeah.
they flee the tavern in a wagon, and we get a car chase, which is actually very good.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good action sequence.
Yes, it is actually, and this is also when, if I remember right, is when do they do the sled scene or the snow slope scene here? Is that when they do it?
Oh, that's later.
Is it later? Oh, yeah, that's right. No, that's right. Okay, so yeah, but the cart chase. There's a lot of good action sequences in this if you think about it.
Yeah, and it's also pretty damn brutal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. It. Oh, this.
People die in this movie, big time.
It's kind of like almost like it's almost like Conan. The way that
Yeah,
they do this, but it's also very similar in the realms of Miss Martin Muses. Hello, how you doing?
I Miss Martin.
But it's along that same line of fantasy. It's very medieval.
Yeah,
So
it's
now I won't say it's anywhere near as violent
yeah,
as Conan, but it's violent for a kids movie.
yeah. I mean, later on they have like these ballistas that
Yes.
fire, big big arrows basically, and a couple of people get impaled on them,
Oh yeah.
and you see it.
Again, this is very Lord of the Rings, very Conan, very very graphic, blatant death. There's no questions about what happens to people in this movie. You know they're
No,
dead.
oh yeah, they're very dead.
Yeah. And Miss Martin, we're just now getting to the part where this adventure really takes off. Because after this, it's kind of the cat and mouse game. But so they get away from Sorsa, and
Yeah, they head to the coast.
mhm.
Mad Morgan seems to be taken with the baby, actually. Yeah,
Yes. Well,
takes
he starts.
basically to go with Willow.
Yeah, he starts to. Well, I guess a part of it is that he's being appealed to by the baby almost. That he realizes that Willow can do this, and Willow has to. Willow has already decided he has to do this, but Willow will need somebody. They're running away from the village, or Mad Mardigan is, and the Brownies and Willow are all running away, and they're in the field. They hear the dogs. They duck down, and Willow tries to say, "Hey, come with. I need your help. You're a great warrior." Da 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 da. And the Brownies decide that they have to go towards this lake, and when they point to the direction, he kind of goes like, "Oh, damn, that's the way I'm going. I guess you guys can go with me until we get there, but you're not going. You're not going south, are you?" And Willow's like, "No, I'm not. We're not going south." He's like, "Okay, well then you can go with me till we get to the lake." But you can see in his eyes, he's kind of made the decision he's going to stick around.
Yeah, and they get to an abandoned fishing village.
Mm-hmm.
Willow gets in a boat, and that's where they've cut a scene.
Yeah.
Because there's supposed to be a storm thing happening when Willow rows out to the island, and you can see when he gets back, he's actually wet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was supposed to be like a sea monster out there as well.
I want to say that I'm trying to remember on one of the latest releases of the DVD of this. I want to say that they might have put that stuff in there because I think they had the old, really old 35 millimeter cuts of it, but I'm not positive. But I've heard a lot. I've heard about it, but I don't know. I don't know. Like I remember, and this is off topic, but I remember in Goonies, the first time I watched it, the octopus scene was in it. And a lot of people don't know about that, but if you get the DVD, they actually have the full edited version because it's very clean looking. It was definitely shot for the movie, and it was in the original viewing I saw at the theater. There's also another part that when they get into the boat, when they pop the boards out to get up into the galley area, or the mess area where they're all around the table with all the jewels and everything, there's a Spanish quote on the boards that Mouth actually reads, but that's not in the movie cut that's out now. You will never see that, and I have yet to find that version again because I remember specifically going to the theater and seeing that, but it's not in there anymore. So it may have actually been in some cuts in some places.
There's a lot of stuff like that from movies from that decade
Yeah.
that people have seen different versions, but the version they saw first has been it's vanished. And there's something about Jaws too as well, when the lady who's helping Sean onto the tipped over boat, she gets swallowed, and people are swearing that they saw it from the front because you only see it from behind in the movie. But they said she was in the mouth. It was really, really nasty.
And that's very possible because, yeah, I mean, in the 80s especially, it happened a lot. And I think over time when they go to re-release for DVD and stuff, maybe they're looking at it and going like, that's not that important. Let's cut it. Let's shorten this down. I don't know. But no, I know there's a lot of that. So that may have very well been in some cut somewhere, or I mean, I've heard about that, so I don't know personally.
I've never seen it, but
Okay.
it's odd that there's no footage of it though. But then again, where will they get it? It's not on any DVD.
Yeah.
Speaking of DVDs, though, if people watching have the Blu-ray of this movie or the DVD, give it a go sometime and watch the movie with the commentaries by Rick Davies. He's actually superb at it. One of the best commentaries I've ever heard anyone do for a movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a few out there that I love. I mean, I love listening to the commentaries. You get to know a lot more about movies and stuff, but I have not seen this commentary. Actually, I own this on VHS. That's the newest copy I have. And
yeah, it's worth it because he is very informative.
Interesting. Yeah, so he gets back, and I'm trying to remember now. I know that basically they get back,
and no, they go to the island, and it turns out Finn Rizal has been turned into a muskrat.
Yeah.
By Bab Morda.
Or is it? I'm trying to
something.
A bush-tail possum.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause, I mean, I just got finished watching it this morning actually, because I wanted to go back over it. Yeah, but they find him, And if I remember right, this is where they get captured again, isn't it?
Yeah, when he gets back, Sorsha is there, and she's captured Mad Mardigan,
Yes.
and they put Finn in a sack,
Yes.
take the baby, and they bring Willow and the rest with them to a camp in the mountains up in the snow.
Yes. And Roselle, I guess, senses or knows that because of the wand that he's a sorcerer or whatnot. And she tells him
Well,
the whole time they're going to this camp, actually, she's teaching him a spell.
yeah, and he keeps boasting that he is a sorcerer.
Yeah.
But just not. It's yeah, it's just level one, right?
She's telling him this spell. And as they're being carted along, well, they're walking behind a cart with chains on. He's learning the spell. They get to a place where they stop. They're put into a cage, and they break Roselle out. She comes into the cage, and after he's made this potion, she tries to get him to change her back to her normal form.
And he screws up, and she turns into a crow,
Yes.
which is actually more helpful
Yes.
uh, at the time.
And
And then the brownies show up.
Yep. And they break them out, but in the process, one of them has love potion or love dust. And I've never quite figured out why. I don't know if it's ever really explained why he has it. And I'm trying to remember, but anyways, when they get him out, it basically most of it pops into Mad Mardigan's face, and he inhales it, and he's all yay, I feel good, and he's lighthearted, he's happy. They go to get the baby. The baby is in Sorsha's tent. Mad Mardigan goes in there and unfortunately cannot stop looking at Sorsha. He basically falls in love with her. You there? Uh-oh. Are you there? Stig? Stig! Well, hold on, folks. We're having technical difficulties. Hey, Stig, you there? Oh. Yeah, we lost Stig, so hold on just a second. Hopefully we can get him back. Just hold on. Let's see here. Sorry, folks. Until then, we got 4 watching. I appreciate all you guys who are watching. I am so sorry that we are waiting for the technical difficulties because it looks like I import Stig in using Hangouts, so old school stuff, like we used to do stuff. And we will see if he comes back in. I'm checking to see. What's going on? I don't know if we lost the line or what happened. We will see. I do apologize, guys. He says no internet, resetting the modem to see if it helps. Okay. So we will stand by. So who do we have in the chat, or who do we have watching right now? Let's see here if it tells me anything. I don't know if it ever will, if it does or if it doesn't anymore. But hopefully we'll be right back on this as soon as we see if Stig can reset his modem. So much going on right now with the internet and everybody being on the internet because of different reasons that it definitely can change a lot right now. So, well, while we're waiting, if you're watching, do me a favor. If you're not subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button. If you are, I thank you very much for being here. And if you want to look right now, I think down in the description, there's not a ton of stuff, but we have a PayPal link there and a StreamYards link if you want to consider supporting the channel. We take all sorts of donations. We appreciate all your donations. That helps us do things like basically fix equipment, much like my mic, which is maybe going bad. I don't know. But mic, replacing equipment, upgrading equipment, finishing off my studio down here, things like that. That all goes towards the channel and fixing, working on stuff for the channel. So, super chats, all that stuff. If you put a super chat in there, I'll be more than willing to read it. Of course, any other sorts of donations are always greatly appreciated. And don't forget to check out chaoscentral.com. Also check out our Teespring. All that information is down below in the description, I believe. And, oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Stig. And then one last thing.
I had to restart my modem.
Yes, I saw the tweet, so or I saw the DM. And then one last thing, check out Chaos Central's YouTube channel. That link is down below in the description also. Those places you can go for more content. And we will get back into this now. All right, so we were basically, or I was basically finishing up there because your internet was so nice to you.
Yeah, it's horrific.
Well, I was explaining with everything going on and so many people being on the internet right now, it's happening more often than not now. Where they where you can get dropped.
It's been happening on and off for me for the last few weeks.
Yeah.
The internet falls out, then I need to restart the modem, and it works.
Yeah. So we were at the part where basically Willow is captured. Mad Mardigan goes with Willow to get the baby from Sorsha's tent, and Mad Mardigan with the love potion or the love dust sees Sorsha and falls in lust with her. And can't get. Go ahead.
Very cheesily.
Mm-hmm.
And his stupid pickup lines work.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
this has already been kind of foreseen by General Kale.
Yeah.
He has already told
or rather,
Morta.
not Kale, but
Oh,
one of the priests
yes.
says that one day Sorcerer will betray her mother or something.
Yeah, and she says, I trust her more than I trust you, basically. But this is all, again, this is that storyline of everybody knows what's supposed to happen. The tale has been
Oh
told
yeah.
for many years, so Bavmorda knows that this baby's supposed to take her place and be her undoing. It's just nobody knows how. So it's that kill the baby. That'll fix everything. But it's that whole line that we don't know exactly how it's happening, so we're watching it play out as it goes on. But yeah, so they're in the tent. Mad Mardigan is just cannot get his eyes off of Sorsha and keeps saying words to her, and she wakes up as he's doing this, and he talks to her, and she's she's taken by what he's saying. At which time, the General Kale comes in, I think, and with
Willow and the
Willow,
baby.
who's already taken the baby, and here's Mad Mardigan and Sorsa kind of, embraced, and she thinks, she's like, oh, you're trying to trick me. That's what you were doing the whole time. And Mad Mardigan takes a sword, cuts the center post out of the tent. Tent falls down. Willow gets out, but before Mad Mardigan leaves, he gives Sorsa a great big kiss, full on,
Yeah.
and this kind of makes her melt. And he has the sword, cuts his way out of the tent, and starts to take on the whole army himself. At which point, Willow now realizes this guy is good.
Oh yeah, he's very good.
Yeah. Hey, memes.
Also, if you see some of the if you watch some of the soldiers running, one of them is wearing sneakers.
Yes. Yes. You gotta love those things. The flub ups they
Yeah.
do.
And then we get an excellent. Well, it's not a sled. They jump on a big shield and use it as
Shield.
a
Yes.
sled.
He
Which is
tells
a very
Willow,
good
get on the
scene.
shield, and then he runs. Mad Mardigan runs, jumps on the shield, and it takes off. And this, you can tell this is done like with green screen, the old school way with the rushing by stuff, but it's done very well. Again,
Yeah, it's almost a copy of the rubber boat scene from Indiana Jones 2.
yes, very much so. Yeah, but great scene. They slide down, get away. Then they're I'm trying to
They
remember.
reach a little village, and they enter the inn, and then there's Eric again
Yep.
with what's left of his army, and apparently Kale had decimated
Yep.
their army in a battle sometime during the story. And they're hiding out in there, and apparently, they explained that they need to get to Tirasleen, which isn't that far away.
Yeah, and let's go back just a second though. Right there at the end, that's when Mad Mardigan absolutely says, "I'm going to help you."
Yeah,
He says,
he says he serves the Nelwyn, which would be Willow.
"Yep." Yeah, and that's where he first fully commits to what they're doing.
Yeah, and he kind of transforms from a vagabond to a knight.
Yes.
Really.
Yes.
And he gets his armor fairly soon after that.
They take Sorsha hostage, but she escapes to tell Kale where they're going. And then I think the next thing they go to the castle of Tirzaleen, I think that
Yeah,
the troll, it's taken over by trolls, right?
yeah, and the army has been turned into. It's been cursed or something. They're inside
Yes.
stone.
Yes.
There's nothing there but trolls.
Uh huh.
The place is abandoned, and Kale's army is closing in, so they have to
This is where
defend
Mad
it.
Mardigan gathers armor and all that.
Yeah, sets up some traps,
Mm-hmm.
Rambo style, and
Yep.
Willow tries to change Finn again, and she ends up being a goat.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is also where Sorcerer starts realizing that she's kind of developed some feelings for Mad Mardigan. This is where she's wavering between the two things, what her mother wants from her, and she's very much desperate to. You can tell during the first part of the movie, she's very desperate to gain her mother's approval. Because every time they get close to the baby and they come back and say, "No, we didn't get the baby," her mom's really pissed off. It's like, it's just a baby. What's the problem here? Why can't you get this baby? Why can't you find this baby? Why, with all my powers, are we not getting this baby? I mean, it's a constant theme there.
Yeah, she keeps failing,
Yeah.
and yeah, then Willow gets attacked by trolls.
Yes, but it's during the fighting that this is when Sorsa decides to align with Willow, Mad Mardigan, and this ragtag group.
Yeah, right at the end, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a quite a long fight that happens, and Val Kilmer shines in the fight scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this Willow uses the wand on one of the trolls, and
Yes,
it
the two-headed
turns in,
dragon.
yeah, it turns into a turd first, and then two-headed dragon comes out and
Mm-hmm.
complicates the battle.
Yep.
It actually snaps one of the well, both heads by the troll
Mm-hmm.
and rips it in half.
Yep.
It's rather graphic for something that's supposed to be a little bit like a kids' movie.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, I think we've already said it that the this movie is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah. So and Mad Mardigan kills the dragon
Mm-hmm.
by impaling its head as it's about to breathe fire, and the head explodes.
Yep.
He's about to lose, and then Eric's army shows up, and the bad guys have to retreat. But
Mm-hmm.
Kale grabs the baby
Yep.
and rides off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Sorcerer grabs Matt Mordigan and gives him a kiss,
Yep.
which is,
And
as is proper. He's
yeah.
just killed a dragon after all.
Yeah. So,
Only thing missing was she could have given him a sandwich.
well, I mean, that was expected. I mean, maybe that was another cut scene
Probably.
because
If anyone deserved the sandwich, it was him.
yes, I mean, and there's plenty of meat just lying around.
Yeah, dragon sandwich,
Well, yeah, I mean,
troll.
whatever. I mean, or a
Grilled.
troll dragon sandwich.
Yeah, grilled troll dragon sandwich.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
And I'm sure being in a castle, there's cheese somewhere. I mean, back then they made cheese and they just left it out.
Yeah, or they could have made brownies. They had to.
Okay. Yeah, and Kale goes back to Nockmar, where he reports that sources betrayed Bab Morda, and she is not happy about this, but she has Alora now, so she basically says, "Let's prepare for the ritual to banish her soul." Yeah, so
Yeah,
basically,
Mad Mardigan and the others lay siege to the castle.
yes,
Put up
Eric's
tents and
army
stuff.
goes, and I think Eric, I can't remember. Does he know the legend, or does he just say, "I'm going to help you"? I can't remember.
No, he realizes that something's up because they
Yeah,
clearly want the baby. So he's probably following the right path if he helps Mad Mardigan and Willow.
yeah, and this is where it got really weird when I remember watching it, and because the way that they show it, it's really graphically. It's almost nightmare fuel how they do this next scene where they lay siege to the castle, but Bav Morda starts turning most of the army into pigs.
Yeah, that's yeah, that doesn't look good.
No,
Looks rather
it
nasty.
just this movie is very visually graphic in several different ways. For a kids movie, again, we got to remember this is a kids movie. Not
Yeah.
kids. I don't want to say kids. It is a fantasy movie that I think parents, because George Lucas and a lot of that, it's like calling Star Wars a kids movie. It isn't inherently a kids movie, but it has things that kids like.
Yeah, yeah, because back then kids weren't the wimps
No,
that the
that's
kids
true.
growing up today are.
If this were released today, parents would be upending governments, going like, "We have to stop this stuff. Look at what they're doing to our children. It's witchcraft. It's devil
Yeah,
worshiping.
and
It's like, yeah,
the High Aldwin smokes a pipe. That alone would
oh,
get an R rating today.
that's true. Jesus, what's he smoking? I mean,
Yeah,
so during all the chaos and stuff, Willow escapes with Rizal.
he protects himself with a spell.
Yes, well, he escapes with Rizal, and he uses a protective spell that she has taught
Yeah,
him. And during this time, he continues to try to change her back into a human. I think he goes into a small, like, house or something, and she's in the
yeah.
corner.
He's in the tent.
Okay, yeah.
He's using the spell in the tent, and I think Finn realizes Bavmorda is casting the same spell she used on her before to turn her into that rat thing.
Mm-hmm. And they, this is actually that scene that I much like you said, I think about when it was, so I don't worry about it too much.
Yeah.
But it was like one of the first like morphing scenes. She changes to all this different stuff during
It
this scene.
it doesn't look good.
No,
It didn't look good back then either, to be
no,
honest.
but it was it was the try to do it again. George Lucas, as much as you want to say that Steven Spielberg and Jurassic Park, which was just a few years after this. I mean, we got to think Jurassic Park was a long time ago now. This was George Lucas. George Lucas was more willing to try these things and fail than to not do it. Because by this time, he had already started. If you listen to commentaries on like Star Wars and stuff, he had already started to think about all the stuff he wasn't able to do with Star Wars because he didn't have the ability to do it. And computer graphics were coming into their own at this point, so he pushed the envelope as much as he could during this movie. And while it's very obvious that it didn't come across great, the try was what I think was more important.
Yeah, and if he hadn't tried all those things, other movies wouldn't have succeeded a
Exactly.
few years later.
Yeah. But so Willow succeeds in turning Rosella into human again, naked at that.
And about 80 years old.
Yes. But what's funny is if you remember earlier when he's first trying to change her the first time when he changes her into a crow, she tells him stay concentrated on this, and the brownies come first and say something, and he says shut up, I'm trying to do this, I need to concentrate, and then Mad Mardigan says something, and then Roselle tells him quiet, I'm a very beautiful woman. I'm a very young and beautiful woman. And that's when he says, oh, concentrate.
Yeah, and she seems to have lost track of time after having been shapeshifted.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, this has happened many years ago that she got turned into that
Yes.
rat. So
Um,
Bavmorda has clearly been trying to prevent all of this for quite some time.
mhm,
She's actually been smart about it.
yeah.
She trapped Finn as an animal who can't swim
Mhm.
on a small island, which is perfect. Well, she probably should have killed her, but then again, maybe she was being sadistic about it, right?
Possibly.
Putting her stuffing her
Again,
rival.
if you dive too deep into these things, it's like when they capture Bond. Well, what's wrong with a bullet to the head? I
Yeah,
don't. It's like if you were a real bad guy, would you want to tell this renowned spy everything? No, I don't care.
yeah,
What do I care? I'm gonna kill you. Boom, done. I win.
yeah. But in this movie, it actually fits because
It
Bavmorda
does.
is she's rather sadistic,
Yes, it
so it
does.
fits with her character that she would do that.
Yeah. So Willow changes her back to being human. She removes the spell that Bavmorda's put on the army, and they trick their way into the castle.
Yeah, and all hell breaks loose.
Yes.
There's a tremendous action scenes going on.
Mm-hmm.
People getting impaled on huge spikes. Man Morning has an epic fight against General Kale.
Well, but first, Eric it fights him, and if I remember right, it's pretty darn quick. Kale kills Eric.
Oh yeah, he runs him through.
Yeah,
He's rolling down a hill with a sword through his
yeah,
gut.
and Mad Mardigan, of course. At this point, it's very obvious again from the beginning when they first meet that there is a friendship there. It's just that Eric is the epitome of honor and this is my duty. I will never change. I'm going to stay the course with my army. He doesn't run off. Mad Mardigan is the one that sits there and he wavers. He's like, "Oh, I'll be a warrior. No, I don't want to be a part of this fight." But they have a friendship. It's very obvious. And this is when you really see what Eric meant to Mad Mardigan because he, for lack of a better word, kind of loses it on Kale.
Yeah, he goes into full swordmaster style.
Yes.
To beat him, and he does.
Yeah, he does.
He impales him on two swords.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, Willow and Finn and Sorcerer has entered
Yes.
the tower
Mm-hmm.
to prevent the ritual.
Mm-hmm.
And Sorcerer dispatches the priests and then gets knocked out by Bavmorda using a spell thing.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure why she's knocked out because she gets sent into some spikes on the wall and Finn stops it just before she hits.
Yeah.
And then Sorcerer passes out for some reason.
I think it's the mix of the two magics being used on her. It just, I don't know. It's not really well explained, but yeah, she's incapacitated. And then Finn, Rizal, and Bavmorda.
Yeah, they have a fight much like Gandalf and Saruman in the Fellowship of the Ring. Except this one, after after they run out of spells, it turns into a full blown fist fight.
Yeah, well, actually, right before, right after, they're going back and forth, and then I think Rizal gets knocked unconscious too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and then Willow tricks Bavmorda into believing that he has sent Alora to another realm outside of her reach, which actually what he uses here is one of the most simplest now you see it now you don't tricks.
Yeah, and this is after he tries the acorns on her,
Mm-hmm.
and it almost works. It turns her arm into stone, but then she kind of dispels it.
Mm-hmm.
Almost works, but he's running out of tricks, and the only thing he has left is the disappearing pig trick.
Yeah.
Used at the beginning of the movie, and it works. She believes it. she loses her shit and seems to have like a heart attack almost, and
Mm-hmm.
then she stumbles onto the altar
Mm-hmm.
and gets hit by the lightning that was
Well,
supposed to hit the baby.
she stumbles on the altar. She forgets the fact that she has completed almost all of the ritual to banish the soul. And when she falls onto the altar, she calls the final word while she's on it and basically undoes her own soul.
Oh, that's what happened. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah, she uses the magic word of for destroy soul or something.
yeah, and that's the thing is that she sends her own soul to the dark realm, and yeah, so she basically undoes herself. This is typical of a classic movie villain or evil person, is that typically because they're so fixated on something, they don't pay attention to the details. If she was smart, she would have understood that I have all but completed this ritual, except for this one word.
Yeah, and
And
George Lucas seems to be be fond of self fulfilling prophecies.
yes, oh,
Which happens
absolutely. Well,
a lot in Star Wars.
yeah. I mean, well, but if you listen to the commentary on Star Wars, especially the first trilogy, the original trilogy, he'll tell you that he's a big fan of these of the Asian tropes and the Asian hero stories where the unassuming hero, like Willow, like the unassuming. You just
Luke.
don't see how this person can be what they have to be.
Yeah,
He's very big on that, and he still is. I mean, again, it's
yeah. It's written in a way that any culture can understand because all of us have those stories in our myths and legends and mythology and things like that.
and what's funny is okay. They're sent to okay. So Bavmorda's gone. Victory ensues. Everybody's celebrating. Willow gets the magic book, and now we find that the couple that he was supposed to take Allure to are now actually going to be Mad Mardigan and Sorsa.
Yeah, and they're at Tirasleen, and that's
Yes.
been restored,
Mm-hmm.
possibly with the help of Finn.
Yep.
And Willow returns home.
To his hero's welcome. His family is fine. Everything's fine. And
And
now
he
I can't.
summons a bird who shits in Burglecut's face,
Yes.
and all is well in the land.
Yes. Now, let's take a few minutes. Hey, Nendroid, how you doing? I just now saw your message there. How you doing, Nendroid? Thank you for showing up. Hopefully, you guys go back and watch the whole thing. We would really appreciate it. We let's go into what we know is going to happen now. Starting in 2005, Lucas and Davis discussed the possibility of a TV series as a sequel to the movie.
And it didn't happen, but
No,
George wrote books.
yes,
There's a trilogy of books about Elora Danan.
yeah. Davis has constantly, though, said I would love to return to the series. I would love to do this, and then in May of 2018, Howard himself confirmed that there were ongoing discussions regarding a sequel. He said it would not be called Willow 2, and then in 2019 he announced that the television series was going to be done in development with Disney
Plus.
Plus. So this might be on Disney. I'm not positive. Like I told Thomas earlier, I just don't know.
I just hope they don't go full blown feminist with Elora Danan in it.
I hope not, but yeah, we won't talk about that. I just hope Jonathan Kasdan will write the television series. Warwick Davis will reprise his role from the original film. It doesn't say much more than that right now.
Yeah, and it'll probably retcon the books, which George Lucas wrote with what's his name, Chris Claremont,
I think so.
Spider-Man writer.
Yeah. I get.
And the
Yeah.
book, I hear the books aren't very good.
I have never read any of them,
No,
and in this case, I don't see a problem necessarily,
no.
as long as, like you said, yes, Elora Danan is obviously should be a very big role in this,
Problem
but
though, Val Kilmer, he can barely speak anymore because of he's had throat cancer.
yeah, I saw a picture though that he looked a lot better, but I've read a lot
Yeah,
of. He begged
there-
to get on Top Gun 2, and everything I seen. Spoiler alert! If you don't want to know, don't listen. One of the things I've heard is that early on there were pictures released of Tom Cruise at a funeral with a coffin with the American flag over it, and there's a lot of thought that it's Iceman, that he has a very small, quick role in it, and then he dies. And
yeah, because in the movie The Snowman,
yeah,
Val Kilmer's in that one, and they had to dub him
uh,
because of his voice. And
I know he had throat cancer. I know for years he said he didn't. I know he said he wasn't going to get treatment because he didn't have it. Because is he Scientologist also?
uh,
I can't remember.
not sure.
Let me look that up because there's something about it that one, he wasn't even admitting that he had it for a long time. Hold on.
Yeah, and then he couldn't hide it anymore because he had a
Yeah.
breathing thing in his throat and stuff like that. So it's kind of a shame what happened to Val Kilmer. He was massive in the 90s.
Oh, it looks like in
It's like
2018 that Tom Cruise says Val Kilmer's doing great after bizarre Scientology treatment. Yeah, I think he is a Scientologist, and that's
yeah.
why him and Cruise still talk. But he has said come out since he was in the movie and said that he I'm trying to remember that he had to beg to get into the second Top Gun. But yeah, I know that the last time I saw a interview with him, he was very soft spoken.
Yeah, he that has to be terrible for an actor to get an illness like that. I mean, they depend so much on their voice.
Yeah, but there's a lot of question, and I was kind of thinking, how are they gonna do this? How are they gonna follow this up?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking it's probably gonna have a. It starts at Tiraslene, I bet.
I was,
Something happens. Alora is probably ruling, maybe,
mm-hmm.
or
I
maybe she's a princess, and then something happens, and they call on Willow.
Yes, or she calls on Willow because again, she, according to the 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 I'm trying to remember her name from the very beginning, where that gives Willow her wand.
Oh,
Uh,
Shalindria.
yeah, she said that Allure picked him. So obviously, Allure was able to know something about Willow, and this would mean that she'd still. I mean, for all we know, it might start off where Willow is there as the sorcerer of the court.
Yeah,
May
I don't think so. He's a family man.
no, but the family could
Uh,
have come.
yeah, that's true.
I'm going off. It could be either or, but what I mean more to the point is Allure definitely has a connection to Willow. So yes, that would make sense that if she's there, something happens, and she feels the need to contact him.
Yeah, maybe they get attacked by maybe Bad Morda returns
That would
from
be
that.
interesting.
Yeah, because she was banished. She wasn't killed.
Exactly. Her
and
soul was banished to the Dark Realm.
yeah, and the castle get attacked. Maybe Allura escapes.
Mm-hmm.
Only one who can help her that she knows is Willow. They have a connection.
Would you have Val Kilmer in this just long enough to get killed?
Yeah,
You would?
if it fits the story, yes. Because
Or
the
how about
character,
this? Let's go a little better because we know there's different realms. Bavmorda comes back and banishes him to a realm. He gets a moment. We know he's still alive, but he can't do anything because he's banished to a different realm.
I'd like him to go down fighting.
Do you
That
think then are we going to use CGI to de-age
no,
Val
because
Kilmer?
I'm thinking they will.
See, Miss Martin says, no, don't kill him.
I'm gonna kill him, Teresa.
Ooh. Do you
He,
hear
he
him?
he's dead.
Evil. He's on Bavmorda's side.
Yeah, yeah. I want Bavmorda to or her army to attack, and maybe have Mad Mortigan sacrifice himself so Allura can escape, which will give him a meaningful death, and he'll go down fighting like a warrior.
Well, how are you going to do that? Because if he's not able to really, even when I've seen pictures of him, he still looks kind of frail. I don't know if he could pull that scene off. So what do? We find a stand-in that looks a lot like him? What do we do?
Just kill him easier.
Okay.
Yeah, it's yeah. I think because if you do that, you establish the villains as a greater threat.
No, I don't disagree. I just
I have the
think you could.
lady. I have the uh, a Mirkwood elf and Teresa
They're
Martin turning on me in the
they're not
chat.
happy with you. They're not happy with you. See, ladies, I have one believe that his banishment to another realm would give the same argument that it would prove that Bavmorda is something to be concerned about, and that she's bad and she's evil and she's dangerous. Yet it doesn't kill him. It just makes it so that he has a
Yeah, but
fitting.
they defeat him with magic. It's kind of a cop out.
But
Just have a
that's the movie.
no. Just have a some kind of epic warrior just somersault over his
Okay,
head.
let me
Tap
appeal
sword.
to you this way. Do you think Disney would do that properly?
No,
Okay, so
I'm just saying what I would do.
okay,
I'd have a some kind of ninja like Sith warrior thing, kind of fight Mad Morning, and then just somersault over him, stab the sword backwards into his back, so the tip of the sword emerges from his mouth, so everyone knows he's really really dead.
uh,
And then
I'm
Laura
sorry,
Dannon,
Tubian, if I misspelled it.
yeah, and then Laura Dannon escapes because of it, and Mad Morning tells her, run to Willow or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Something like that.
It
Because then
did-
you'd establish a threatening villain.
I understand your point, and that's, it suffices for what you're doing.
Or they could chop his head off, and I don't know. I probably won't do that on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Oh, and Sorsha needs to die too.
Ooh,
Yeah, they can kill her with a spell. That's
she's
fine.
a redhead.
Yeah, fireball
You
spell.
can't kill redheads. It's bad. It's mean. It's
No, she has to go.
You're breaking our hearts there, Stig. But
Gonna check if I've gotten some angry DMs.
one other thing I had read up on this and I had totally forgotten about it, but it's something that I think you and I, this kind of goes off into another realm of what we like. Video games. There were 3 video games based off the film. Mindscape published an action one in 1988 for Amiga and Atari 5T, Commodore 64, and DOS.
Yeah,
Then
the Commodore 64 game and the DOS game, I think, were pretty much similar.
Yes.
It was more like an adventure game, top-down view, right?
Yes, if I remember right.
I played it a little bit. I didn't much care for it.
Yeah. Capcom published 2 different games in '89 based on the film. The first, Willow, is a platform game for the arcades, and the second was a Willow game for. It was a role-playing game for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yeah,
So
that's the one I played. It had a top-down view. I would have loved to have seen something like Skyrim set in the Willow world.
that would be
That would
interesting to do something like and basically call it Willow and do Skyrim as similar thing
yeah,
because that would
yeah,
really work. Elder Scrolls type.
yeah.
That would really
Open
work.
world, uh, or maybe as a Tomb Raider game. You know, you
I
lots of
guess
exploration.
maybe a mix between the two, depending. Maybe have several different. You like if you were Willow, it'd be more like Skyrim, and if you were if they have a warrior, if they come up
Or
with a different.
something like Oregon Trail, where Willow dies from dysentery every 30 minutes.
I still love Oregon Trail.
I know, you just die from dysentery
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah, or a broken arm. It's the only game I know that you could have a broken arm and die. You
Yeah,
rest 6 days, and like then the 5th day, Johnny died, and it's like he had a broken arm. What the hell? I put him in the back of the wagon. I have 5 people. I killed animals. I fed him. I did everything I should, but he died of a broken arm.
yeah. Sporky News podcast is in the chat as well.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to our Game of Thrones book club stream today. You bastard!
You guys are all coming much, much too late. We're near the end of this. Guys, please go back and watch all of this so you can hear the lovely commentary by me and Stig. It's a live stream right now. I might have to pull it down and cut out the part where Stig's internet decided not to cooperate. So it will,
The disturbance in the force.
yeah, but I might leave it. I don't know. I might leave both up actually. But dehydration. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, are you interested in them doing the TV, the series? I mean, because okay, I mean, I know you're not a big Mandalorian fan, but was the Mandalorian bad?
The Mandalorian was mediocre at best, in my
Okay,
opinion.
would you take mediocre with the hope that they would learn something and maybe make it better?
Well, it's different people behind the Willow show, and Willow, in general, is way more suited for Disney than Star Wars is.
It is.
So I think a TV show, if they keep the politics out of it, it could be pretty good. But then again, it's made by LucasFilm,
Yep.
and we know who's in charge of that.
Yep. We do.
So we might end up having, Laura Dannon is a Chinese transgendered baby, right?
Oh God, please no. That would suck.
Yeah, but I guess I'm hopefully sitting hopefully on the fence.
Yeah. I think that, like you said, Disney might be able to they kind of understand this probably more than they do Star Wars. This is more down their fanciful range. I just don't. My problem is, and we've talked kind of about how they talked about doing a Predator series. You got to keep the series where it was,
Yeah,
and this wasn't like we said. This had violence in it.
yeah.
And to take that out of it, I don't think is going to help.
No, no. It needs to keep the tone that was set originally.
Yes.
This is why I don't think Disney should do anything with Predator or Alien,
No, I don't disagree at all.
because neither of those franchises work with a PG-13 rating.
No, they don't. But I don't know if that's really going to stop them. I think that's the biggest problem is that they don't.
Yeah, I'm seeing people have opinions about this in the chat. Teresa Martin says she's not sure there needs to be a series. I agree,
Yeah.
but I don't think it would do much harm either, because it's just one movie, and the movie wasn't even that big of a success back in the day. It was,
No, it became a cult
yeah,
favorite.
absolutely.
And you know what's funny is I'm realizing that you and I like a lot of failed movies that just became much bigger after the fact.
Yeah, that's because we got the movies when
I
they came out.
guess.
We understood them. We analyzed them correctly,
And we were younger.
and
What
we
was wrong
nodded
with
in
us?
agreement. Well, we didn't have PlayStations.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah,
I didn't get
and
my.
Lady Toriel thinks Disney will foul it up somehow. I'm afraid she might be right.
Unfortunately, their track record goes that way. But again, I do say that this is something they understand.
Yeah, and sooner or
Yes.
later,
Hey, Trap.
sooner or
Will.
later, they're going to have to do something good. And well, they have Ron Howard
Yeah.
as the director, and he made the original.
He
So
understands it.
yeah, he does. Yeah, I'm hopefully, I'm hopeful about it.
There's.
But I'm not going to get Disney Plus to watch it.
No. Was Ron Howard the one that finished Solo?
Oh yeah, he finished it all right.
Well, I mean, originally he was not the director.
No, he had to redo 80% of the movie.
Yeah, and so I think Ron Howard is still a good director. I think he got a bad name from Solo. And again, here I go. I didn't mind Solo. Insert pun here.
Sometimes you're wrong. That's okay.
I see. But Ron Howard, I have faith that because he did this is partially his vision. Again, it'd be smart to kind of pick the brain of Lucas on this, because like I said, back in 2005, he had this idea anyways.
Yeah, well, you know what they do with his ideas? They ignore it.
That's true, but that's why I'm saying somebody like, yeah. That's why I was saying he himself could go and sit down and go like, hey, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
And then come to Disney, go like, you know what? I have this great idea.
Yeah, I think we need to know more about it. But
Yeah.
the guy writing the script is Caston, right? The guy who came up with Pando Lando.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hated that. That was the worst part of that movie, is that damn robot and that whole.
Yeah. Lando sleeps with robots now, so I guess he's gonna give R2 STD too.
Sheesh, Stig.
Sorry about that.
Here, that's lovely. Hashtag droids lives matter.
Yeah.
God, I hated that part. See, like I said, I like Solo. I do like it. But when it got to that part, it did start just going like, oh, dear God. Every time that droid would talk, Lando,
it's weird. In the Star Wars universe, they have droids for everything, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure they have droids designed for, to be sex toys.
Well, oh shoot, now I can't remember the name of the
Why not
race.
use one of those?
the
Probably
green
nine
and blue,
or 4.
no, not droids, the race of alien beings,
Oh, the Twi'leks.
Twi'leks. Yeah, that is the sex workers of that galaxy.
Yeah, kind of, but against their will.
Yes, of course. Man, imagine Lando explaining that to his daughter. Well, you
Yeah,
see, honey.
his his daughter is a cyborg. That's why. Half machine, half man.
There was another lady in my life. Jesus, trap.
Your mom is a toaster, darling.
Hey, mom. Hey, honey. Go plug your mom in for me.
Yeah.
Yes, Will. Thank you very much for Twi'lek. Yeah, I think that that there is a chance, as always, that Disney could screw this up. But this isn't Star Wars.
Yeah, Willow is, well, I really like Willow. It's one of my favorite movies, but it's not as big as Star Wars, and it's not as big as Lord of the Rings or anything like that.
No, but it is, again, it's fantasy, and they understand this a little more, I think. Could be wrong. I mean, I could absolutely be wrong. It's not beyond them to muff it up.
Yeah, they seem to screw up the simplest things, but I don't know.
Thank you, Sparkin, for showing up. Appreciate it.
I think having Ron Howard do it though is a good thing.
It is a good sign, as long as they listen to him.
Yeah, keep Kennedy the heck away from this.
And that's the problem, is that this falls under that ILM and Lucasfilm branch. And I mean, okay, so again, I talked about The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian, yes, mediocre at best, but I don't think Kathleen Kennedy had anything to do with it. So there's room for improvement, but I can see improvement happening on that show. I really can.
Well, now they're having Boba Fett back.
Yeah, don't get me started on that crap. If you're going to bring Boba Fett into this universe, into that, just start the whole thing with him as the Mandalorian.
Well, he's already confirmed very dead
in their universe. They
Exactly.
don't understand it, though. I said this 1,000 times. They don't even understand their own canon, let alone the other canon.
Yeah, even his armor got picked and sold off.
Yeah.
So he's dead. And then they bring him back, and then because everyone loves Boba Fett.
Oh God, Will, why are you trying to justify that? So Will Gentry, they have the capacity to make a much more realistic sex bots in the Star Wars world. I fail to see why he would stick something like that, something that looks like a robot, or stick to something that looks like a robot. The only reason I can see for Lando sticking it to L3 is she's talking kind of dirty that really got his motors running. Even though, why would you just take her brain and put it into a? Why wouldn't you just take her brain and put it into a realistic looking sex bot?
Yeah, and where does he put it though? In the input or output?
Oh Jesus! Oh, and if she doesn't like it in the output, does she say wrong data hole, asshole?
Yeah.
Wrong data port.
This is the backup.
Oh, Jesus. How can we even get out of this now?
Flush my hard drive, darling.
We're talking about Willow.
Yeah. Back to the small talk.
Iger had no idea what he was buying with Disney's money. He just saw a franchise and dollar signs and didn't understand the fans or the lore. No, they don't. And that's why you should have paid Lucas $6 billion and said the extra $2 billion is so you can stick around and help us with this. her small thermal exhaust port. Oh, Jesus. She obviously has realistic input-output port. Jeez. Why?
You know, ever since they plugged her into the Falcons, now has a hyperdrive.
Yeah. Does that mean it makes it go quicker?
Makes she has an extra strong drive, I suppose.
Honey, that was the best 0.2 seconds I've ever had.
Yeah. She did me in less than 12 parsecs.
Oh, Jesus. All right. On that note, guys, thank you for coming today and watching us. I appreciate all you guys. If you didn't see the whole thing, drop back to the beginning after we're done.
Yeah, I forgot to give a rating.
Oh yeah, no, we won't forget. Thank you for telling me. Okay, so Willow, let's talk ratings. Go ahead. What are we doing? 1 to 5, right? And then we combine it.
Yeah,
Okay, so go ahead. Your rating?
a 4.
4. Looking, story, acting, visual effects, everything, I would go a strong 4.
It has the story is rock solid.
Yeah, it
No
just
plot holes, nothing bad in it, except for some. The brownies were annoying as
yeah.
heck. They should have killed those early on.
Oh, jeez, Will, the best 0.2 seconds I ever had could be my motto. Jesus.
Let's have parsecs tonight.
Oh, Jesus. So that gives us a combined rating of 8 for this movie for Willow. I think that's
Yeah.
I want to say that's like the third highest of the movies we've rated. But still,
Yeah.
this is a very good movie. If you didn't go and watch it, if you've never watched it, you should watch it.
Yeah.
Don't buy into the hype because this movie just wasn't understood. I think in today's world, people understand it better. But George Lucas, when he wrote films and wrote stories, he was coming from a much different place than the United States lore. He used lore from other countries and other places that we didn't quite understand then. Nowadays, other countries and stuff and their media, their stories have infiltrated or have integrated into United States customs, and we understand these things more. So this movie is probably more received now than it was when it first came out.
Yeah, and even though it didn't do well at the box office, I've never heard anyone say this is a bad movie.
No.
Never, ever heard that.
No, I haven't either. So 8 out of 10 is our score for Willow. We will try to get to another movie talk here before too long. I think we actually did this one much sooner than the last one. The last gap was like 3 months, and I'm trying to remember. Let's see here.
Christmas and stuff happened.
Yeah. Trying to remember. Let's look and see if it will play nice with. There we go. The last one was March 19th, so a little less than two months on this one. So I think we did fairly well because the last time it was October 28th before that, so it was like 5 months. So yeah, we will definitely get back to another movie talk before long. If you guys have a suggestion or a request for us to do a movie talk to, go ahead and DM me on Twitter at chrisknight5150. You can email me, chrisknight at therealreview3000.com, or you can put it down in the comments below. And
when we get them, we'll ignore them.
Yes, we will, absolutely, because we know what we're going to do them on, not you. No. If it kind of has to be something that we're both interested in talking about, not that we won't listen to your requests, but it definitely will have to be something that we are that we know something about, and we will look at it. We'll figure that out.
Brian Young says he watched Willow for the first time last month. How did you like it?
Yeah.
Tell us what you thought. Now. We'll do so immediately.
Trap wants us to do a movie talk about The Dark Knight.
No. I'm sick of Batman. I'm sick of Marvel.
I'll tell you what, Trap, if you want to do that, we can talk about doing that. Oh, and I'll come over to your channel. You can come over here and we can talk about The Dark Knight. That's fine. But I like having Stig on here. Stig and I talk about these things. We figure out what movies we want to talk about. And this started way back on The Gospel According to Chris, actually, where we talked about Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. And we realized that I think, Steve, you'd agree that you and I have fairly similar tastes in movies. And we enjoy movies that have, I'm trying to think, that aren't well appreciated for what they really were. Would you say?
Yeah. Movies with a lot of depth, I think, for the most part. I wouldn't say Willow has a lot of depth, but
No.
Falling Down and Blade Runner certainly did.
Yes.
And The Shining had a lot more than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
We had Miss Sarcastic Nerd on for that one, and she blew us out of the water with that one.
Oh, no, she knows her stuff on that for sure. Brian Young says, retains Lucas Magic. Surprised how good it was. Last act kind of fell apart. Which, I don't know about that, but...
Oh, Trap Production is trying to act tough. You know something, Trap? Just because you said that, I'm going to put my Dark Knight Blu-ray into the fireplace and burn it.
Oh, damn. Don't do that.
And I'll tag you in this.
Oh, Jesus.
Trap Productions made me do this.
All right, guys. Check the description down below. I'll have more stuff down there. Just all my links are on there. My PayPal, my StreamYards. If you want to help donate to the channel to help me replace equipment or fix up my studio, get it finished, whatever. We always greatly appreciate donations. But all my links are down there for Chaos Central, chaoscentral.com, the YouTube. All of that is down below. I'll make sure I put Stig's stuff down in there too. Guys, I really do appreciate you guys watching. If you didn't get to watch the whole thing, again, go back to the beginning, watch the whole thing, and enjoy the quick intermission there where Stig's internet decided to drop out. And then Will Gentry, if Stig refuses to do it and you need a token European to prove you're not a xenophobic, give me a shout. I will consider that, Will. I will consider that.
Yeah, but Will's a good man.
Yes.
He'd know that do quite well.
Well, there you go. We might do that, Will. We might. All right, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate every last one of you coming in and doing this with watching this. And Stig, as always, I greatly appreciate having you on. I love the conversation and talk about movies that we love. So go ahead and tell everybody about yourself really quick and give them a shout out.
Yeah, tiny channel, just a bunch of nonsense on it.
Ducks.
But yeah, there's 2 ducks in one video.
Yes.
Imagine that. 2 ducks in one shot, actually. But I'm going to be on Sporking News podcast stream today for the weekly Game of Thrones, or rather the Song of Ice and Fire books talk. And today we're doing the first of our book club thing. We're discussing chapter 1 to 20 of book 1. So if anyone has time and want to pop by and talk about the first bit of the book, spoiler free, please do so. And we're having Christy on as well, and I think Jane Theory, who's always good to have on, will be there.
Yeah. Go check out Sporking's YouTube
just
channel.
go sub to Sporking. Oh, and sub to Lady Toriel in the chat. She has a brand new channel and she does really cool videos.
Mm-hmm.
So she's an elf. I mean, what's not to like?
Exactly. And one last thing for me, I am trying to get to 1,500 subscribers currently. At this time, I am at 1,418. So I am 70 or 82 away. And I'm trying to get there by June 9th. If you're not subscribed already, please, guys, consider subscribing. If you know somebody who isn't subscribed, have them come by, take a look at the channel, the videos I do. If they like what they see, go ahead and ask them to subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that from all of you. Don't forget, though, that Stig over there, he would love to have your subscription, too. So go check out his channel and check out the Ducks and his deep thoughts on Incredible Hulk and Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah, those are very deep.
They are. Indeed.
Yeah.
With that said, Stig, let's say goodbye.
Goodbye there.
Goodbye.
Hey guys, thanks for checking us out. Be sure to subscribe to both channels, and make sure to check out our friends in the Fandom Menace. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and BitChute, and you can also send us an email at sean@seanstackhousereacts.com and chrisknight@therealreview3000.com. Be sure to swing by our Teespring store to pick up some awesome merchandise.